Teacher of Reddit, what's a question a child asked in class that absolutely broke your heart? I used to work at a special ed preschool, and there's one memory I'll never forget. One of my little students, a sweet 4-year-old boy, had been out of school for about a week. At first, we weren't sure why, but soon we learned he had pneumonia and was admitted to the hospital. Naturally, we were all worried, but after some time, he came back to class looking a little better, though still fragile. That's when he said something to me that completely broke me. With wide, innocent eyes, he asked, "Did you know that when you're in the hospital, you can eat and eat until you're full?" I just froze. My heart sank right there. I knew his family struggled financially. Most of our students' families did, but hearing those words out loud from a child was a whole different level of heartbreaking. To him, the hospital wasn't just a place to get better. It was one of the few places where he got to eat until his little stomach was satisfied. After that day, I couldn't shake it, so I started sending him home with extra food whenever I could. It wasn't much, but at least I knew he'd have something to eat besides what little his family could provide. That one simple question, a child just excited about being able to eat until full, still sticks with me to this day. It's a reminder that sometimes the things we take for granted are the very things a child dreams about.
This was before I officially became a teacher, back when I was working as a nanny for a very dysfunctional family. And when I say dysfunctional, I mean it. I spent 10 years with them, starting as a teenager and staying all the way through finishing my master's degree. There were countless moments with these kids, but one still lingers in my memory like it happened yesterday. I had just tucked in the eldest, he was 7 at the time, and I had already been with the family for 4 years. As usual, I leaned down, kissed him on the forehead, and told him I loved him. Now, I know some people might find that controversial, but I practically lived with these kids. As a teen, I was the one picking them up from school, spending every weekend with them. And eventually, after I turned 18, I moved into the house. These kids weren't just kids I watched. They felt like my own little siblings, my family. But then, out of nowhere, this child, this boy who was only 7, grabbed my hand, looked at me, and asked me the kind of question that breaks you from the inside out. He said, "Why do you love me? Mom and Dad don't. I'm a bad kid." I swear my heart shattered in that moment. And the thing is, he really was a handful. He had a short temper, got into trouble at school often, and constantly acted out. But years later, as an adult, he was finally diagnosed with ADHD. Looking back, it made so much sense. He wasn't bad. He just needed understanding, patience, and support. Unfortunately, what he got instead were parents who were barely present. They were only around maybe one day a week, and even then, they'd often ask me to keep an eye on the kids so they could go out to dinner or see a movie. So here I was, 20 years old, completely unprepared for a question like that. I squeezed his hand, told him that his parents did love him, and that he was an incredibly lovable boy. I explained that even the kindest people make mistakes or misbehave sometimes, but that doesn't make them unworthy of love. I hugged him again, whispered that I loved him, and left the room. But walking out, I had to fight hard to push down the lump in my throat. It stuck with me. The raw honesty of a child just wanting to be loved by his parents. And believe it or not, this family had 4 kids in total. Twins who were only 1 year old when I first started working there, and a newborn who was literally just a few days old. To this day, I'm still in touch with all of them. The baby I once held in my arms is now 17. But that night, the night a 7-year-old boy asked me if I loved him because he believed his parents didn't, that will always stay with me.